And my desire has always been to, to find work which has two combinations. One, it helps or impacts humanity in some way, meaning, healthcare. I've done a lot of work in healthcare technology, education technology, real estate for people to live better. So these type of projects, and then always looking for, like, what is the next wave of technology that I can get my hands on? Because for me, technology is like a new toy. Like, you get a new toy and you play with it, and you see, how you can break it, put it back. So that's a lot of fun. And then during the course of it, if I can build solutions that help millions of people, that's an added bonus for sure.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, 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 Fearless Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. G, and we are back for another exciting episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. Today, we have Mr. Aggarwal with us. And I did not ask him, and this is true confessions, I didn't ask him how to pronounce his first name, so I did not want to mess it up. So I'm going to ask you to say your first name phonetically properly so that
No problem.
The audience
No
can
problem.
know. Yes.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Manuj Aggarwal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so, Manuj, you have to tell us all about yourself and what you are up to.
Yeah, sure. Well, my background is technology. I've been building software and technology for about 30 years. 15 of those years, I've been focused a lot on cutting edge technologies like artificial intelligence and blockchain. So I have 4 patents in artificial intelligence, and I was just awarded one of the leading global thought leaders award in AI. And in my work, I have worked with hundreds of startups. Large corporations like Microsoft, IBM, Pearson Education, built systems for them which spanned the global reach, supporting millions of users. So the software that we have delivered in my company, it has impacted over 10 million lives and produced about $500 million in value for the clients.
That's awesome. How did you get into this? Because I mean, that's not, well, I would say that for a lot of us, that's not the typical entry, the typical career.
Yeah, well, I mean, so my story is, I grew up in India in a small town, and I started my career at 15 working in a factory for $2 a day.
Oh, wow.
And one during one lunch hour, I got some inspiration from some business magazines, looking at these stories of successful people who how they built their empires, and so something inspired me to change my life and do something better. And at that time, obviously, I didn't know what that could be, but I found my love for computers and programming, and that's when I knew I just wanted to do that. And the way that it sort of progressed was like, after coming to North America, I got a job and lost my job like 2 or 3 times in quick succession. So this
Wow.
was early, like, so 2000. So dot-com bust, then September 11th, and Gulf War. All of these things happened. So I started my own technology consulting company, helping startups and helping these large corporations. And my desire has always been to, to find work which has two combinations. One, it helps or impacts humanity in some way, meaning, healthcare. I've done a lot of work in healthcare technology, education technology, real estate for people to live better. So these type of projects, and then always looking for, like, what is the next wave of technology that I can get my hands on. Because for me, technology is like a new toy. Like, you get a new toy and you play with it, and you see, how you can break it, put it back. So that's a lot of fun. And then during the course of it, if I can build solutions that help millions of people, that's an added bonus for sure.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mm.
Oh, there's so much I want to ask you now. So, okay, so let's go back to the teenager in the factory, and you look at this magazine, Junior Lunch Hour, and you're now inspired. Was there any fear involved in that,
Yeah,
desire? Because it's you're going against the grain, right? I mean, you're like you're putting yourself outside of the box that you've been initially
yeah,
put
yeah,
in. So how did that
yeah.
go?
Well, I mean, frankly speaking, I got inspired, but never in my mind, even the craziest thought, I never thought I will be here. I just thought maybe, I'll be able to live a comfortable life and get out of the factory job, right? So that
Right.
was the extent of my ambition at that point.
Okay.
Um, but even that sounded like, building an empire, because where
Yes,
I
of
was,
course.
compared to that. So that was building an empire. And so when I started working with computers, the key thing which I liked about that was, a couple of things. One, I was a very extremely introverted child, so I could not connect with other people, talk to other people. And when with machines, it's like so easy, like you can just talk to them, they never talk back, and they just obey your commands. So that was pretty cool. And then I started building some cool applications even at that age, which helped some small businesses solve their problems. So I was like, oh, I can make that impact. Like, I can like just do something once and then share it with other people, and then it solves their problem. That gave me a sense of power, right? Like, that gave me a sense of meaning as well. And so at that point, I just knew that I wanted to have fun and help other people. That was sort of my train of thought. And I knew if I just continue doing that, I'll get somewhere. Where it was, I didn't know. And surprisingly enough, like, I find myself now being recognized at a global level and everything. There was never a thought in my mind that I will reach this status. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So
Mm.
awesome. And so I'm curious also, because I mean, you're kind of like a guy who was like, pull yourself up on your own bootstraps. This is a term that they use
Exactly.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm curious. So where did you learn how to program? Did you just teach
Um,
yourself, get books? Like, what did you
no, no.
do?
In my small town, there was, a new computer institute opened up. That
I
was the
see.
first
Okay.
one, and I went there, and they said, the fee is like, X rupees. They use rupees in India, so that was the fee was more than my yearly salary. So I was like,
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
I can't afford this, right? So then next year I saved up, or I did a lot of things to like save up enough to enroll. So I enrolled in that institute, and then what I did was I used to beg everybody in my class to, because they had limited number of computers, and so you had to book time in the lab
Oh,
to
okay. Okay.
program practice.
Hmm.
So I used to beg people, hey, please, can I have your time, so that I can spend more time programming. So I used to bribe them with whatever. So I try to maximize my time as much as possible in that 1 year, to learn as much as possible. And then, as I said, like, I built a few programs that I shared with business owners, and then I got a job working with another software company to, hone my skills, learn more and more. So yeah, it was a slow, step by step process. But I have like a very sort of, uh, humble sort of education, and so I didn't get a lot in terms of education. Even when I talk about the programming institute where I enrolled, or my degree programs, I learned most of the stuff by doing things on the job, just learning how the real world works, how it, how what kind of problems people face, and how we can solve it with technology. So it was pretty much all learning on the job.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And then was there so you were able to to get the funds together to take the course for the year. You took full advantage of that, which that's just amazing. And then you were able to get a job and things is kind of like built up on that particular foundation. So
Yeah.
then how does that get you? So now, so you're working in India. How did that get you to the United States? Like you
Yeah.
obviously got to
So
suffer a job in the United States, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah. Well, so what happened was I met my girlfriend and future wife in that same computer institute. She was
okay,
taking the same course. So actually, I'm in Canada. So she grew up in Canada, and we met in India. Got married in India, and
okay,
then we moved to Canada after a few years. So that's
okay.
how I came. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, awesome, 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 awesome. And then was there any fear involved in leaving your homeland to go to a foreign
Yeah,
place?
yeah, absolutely. If we want to dive into that story, like my wife, now she's my ex-wife, so we just got separated. But basically, we belong to different religions, and in India, that's not a good thing. Like you're not supposed to get married outside of your religion, or for that matter, your parents are supposed to pick your spouse. So generally, there's an arranged marriage. So this was also going against the grain, and people didn't like it that much.
Ah, okay.
So eventually we said, okay, let's just move to Canada. And so it was it's a little bit of apprehension, like leaving everything behind, but also
Yes.
following your heart, following your destiny, whatever you want to call it. But it was sad and like scary, but at the same time we were escaping the societal pressure on sort of pressure, as in, like, there was some negative emotions in people around us, that
Okay.
why we got married, and all that stuff. So we were escaping that, coming to a new country. And since she grew up, my ex-wife grew up in Canada, like, she had some support here. And then the other thing is, I was super excited to take these skills that I have learned in India and then apply it in a more developing country, because I knew there were opportunities. The second thing which I did was, as soon as we decided that we are gonna move to Canada, I started applying for jobs sitting in India.
Okay.
So I actually got a couple of interviews and meetings even when I was in India. So they said, as soon as you land, you come see us, and we'll help you out. So, because
Okay.
back then
All
it
right.
it was like when the internet was just sort of coming out booming, like back
Yes.
back then it was like nuts. Like you could just literally start a website and become a millionaire overnight, right? So,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Good old days, right?
exactly, exactly.
Well, I mean, I still think that there's still a huge wealth transfer out there. It's just a matter
Yeah,
of
yeah.
knowing where to
Why?
find it.
Interestingly enough, we are at a bigger wealth transfer threshold now. So if the internet was, like, a big source of income, especially if you start early in the 1990s, if people started early, now with AI, it is even 10 times or 100 times bigger opportunity, because it's going to change radically how things are done.
Oh yeah. Oh, I totally
Yeah,
agree with you.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. And then so tell me, I'm just curious about this one thing. Kind of going back to the problem with being from different backgrounds and marrying.
yeah.
Does that also affect the children? Like if you have children, like does that affect your children? Like how does that go?
See, children themselves are resilient, right? Like children, when they grow up in an environment, they don't know any better. For them, it's normal. But what happens is, when they go outside, their school circle, they generally ask you, okay, who are you? What is your background? Are you Hindu?
Okay.
Are you Sikh? So there are instances where people marrying from different religions, they have these cultural issues, confusion about the identity of the person. you know
I
um
see.
but for us, as parents, and for our kids, it's one on the same thing. Like, we have we have two different types of temples. So we have two different type of days, like holidays, important days where we visit the temple. If it's a mom's religion important day, we go to Sikh temple. If it's dad's, then we go to Hindu temple. So for them it's like normal. But luckily, we didn't stay there. We didn't have our kids there in India. But I'm sure if they grew up there, they would have faced some challenges for sure.
Okay,
In
interesting.
fact, yeah, like there was a famous Indian movie which I saw. The movie plot was that a Hindu marries a Muslim girl, and there were riots about. There's a lot of sort of um, a political sort of stir in India, and it's all related to religion. So, and in this movie, it was based on true story. There were riots, and the rioters got hold of these two kids, and then they were asking,
Mm,
uh, you know, tell me who you are, like Hindu or Muslim, because if you are Muslim, then we'll punish you. If you're Hindu, then we'll let you go. So these kids were confused, like, oh, they said we are both. So these type of
wow.
scenarios, they come up in day-to-day life there.
Interesting. Wow. Thanks for sharing that because, it's like, I mean, you kind of hear a little bit about things, but it's nice to hear from somebody who's experienced it. And
Yeah,
so I appreciate you sharing that.
yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Wow. That's wild.
Mhm.
I guess there's conflict when you have love across lines everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think, see, the thing is, like, as human beings, I think I don't think we have any inherent boundaries in our mind. We can connect with anybody, but people who want to divide us, they use any type of means to say, hey, these people are not your people. Skin color, religion, social status, economic status. They figure out a boundary and they say, okay, you guys stay separate from each other, and you don't want to mix. And then we take on their beliefs, and all these things happen, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh wow. Yeah, no. It's crazy. Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way from sign up to launching your show with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available if you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show.
Mhm.
And then so I don't know. I can't tell if you're in my age group or not because you have like a beautiful haircut there.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
are your kids like teens or are they
Yeah, so
older?
my kids are 10 and 13, so one
Oh,
just
okay.
turned teen.
Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
And
good, good.
I'm 48, so
Yeah, that's my age.
yeah, okay.
That's good. That's good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have 11-year-old and a 14-year-old and a
Oh,
13 year
okay.
old. So
Oh, okay.
the same kind of age group.
Yeah,
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 they're
yeah.
fun. They're fun ages. A little bit challenging at times just because
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
trying to
absolutely.
find their way, I guess.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
But they're fun. They're lots of
yeah,
fun.
yeah,
That's great.
absolutely, absolutely.
So do you have a boy and girl or you have two girls or
Two
two
boys,
boys?
two boys.
Two boys?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so would you say that you have acclimated to your new home or do you go back
Um,
to visit often or no?
Yeah, I try to go back, but so much is happening right now, especially with AI and all that. So,
Yes.
it's very busy time. But yeah, I mean, in terms of going back, I visited last year. I love nature, so I visit the Himalayas,
Oh, nice.
um, and in terms of climatization, like my body, yeah, I mean, I've been here for 25
This is
years,
cold.
so yeah, it is cold. But I grew up in way different weather, so I'm getting used to it, but still not, somebody who grew up here. Like my kids, like, they walk around in shorts in December. I'm like, what the, like,
Yes, yes, what's
yeah, so
happening?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
great. That's great.
mhm.
That is awesome. So tell us about your project. Like tell us if people are interested in learning more, how they can do that and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
See, I'll speak a little bit in generic about
Sure.
AI. So AI basically is, you can say it's like a new electricity, or new fire. So anything that we perceive around ourselves, is going to start incorporating AI in that. So whether that's cooking, whether that's cleaning, whether that's, medical science, healthcare, anything that you can think of. And the reason is because so far, humans have never had built a technology that can enhance our cognitive abilities, mental abilities. We've had all these inventions. Like the car can help us move faster, the crane can help us lift heavier weight. So all the inventions that we have built so far, it has helped us to increase our physical capacity. But with AI, it will help us increase our cognitive ability, which means we can solve more complex problems faster and better. And so the idea is that any business, small or large, any professional, which is looking to grow over the next, few years, they must start to understand AI and see how it affects their business. Start taking baby steps in incorporating it, because just like what we were talking about during the dot-com boom time,
Yes.
if people did not take advantage of that, like, I remember I used to have conversations with people back then, asking them, hey, do you have an email address, or do you have a website? And they'll be like, what's email? Why do I need a website? I don't understand. And now, within 5 to 10 years, nobody could live without an email. Nobody could live without the internet. And
Yes.
especially if you had started a website, for example, Jeff Bezos started a
Yeah.
website in 1997 and
Yeah.
became the richest person in the world in 20
Yes.
years, right? And not only that, he beat out Walmart, which has been around for 100 years,
Yes, it's
right?
true.
So if you see history being repeated now, it's the same time here, where people say, oh, my work or my business doesn't need AI. But then
Mm.
in 5 years, when they turn around, if they don't embrace it, the competitor is going to start using AI, and they're going to be much further ahead. So that's where we are at now. So in terms of projects, like, I can share a few examples of
Sure.
how we use AI. One was in the healthcare field, where a lot of people have joint pains, and the reason why they have joint pains is because of the way their feet are constructed. So maybe they have flat feet or high arches or something along those lines. And so with this kind of feet structure, the medication or surgery doesn't help there. So what we did was we created an AI algorithm which could take some pictures of their feet with their mobile phone, and then that picture gets converted into a 3D model of their
Okay.
feet within 2 millimeters of accuracy. And then that 3D model gets fed into a 3D printer, and the 3D printer prints out custom orthotic, which is fitted to your foot. That custom orthotic now goes into your shoe, and then provide supports at the right pressure points under your feet.
Okay. Okay.
And then it helps with joint pains and performance and all that. So that was one. Another one was where, in the higher education space, a lot of kids, they drop out of the university programs in the first 2 years of their program. And the reason why that is because they found that, the program they enrolled in is of no interest to them, or it's too difficult. So 30% of the students actually drop out in the first 2 years. So what we did was we created some algorithms which took mountains of data from a lot of past students, hundreds of thousands of students, and we figured out finding patterns what kind of student prefers what kind of course and what can they complete easily. So we took their SAT scores, their aptitude scores, all their
Okay.
interest levels, and then just like Netflix recommends shows to us,
Oh
we
yeah, yeah.
recommended courses to the students as they were enrolling. So the result was, a lot more students completed their degree programs without dropping off, and
Nice.
this project got special mentions from President Obama and Bill Gates. So you can see now, like AI
Nice.
is,
That's great.
yeah. So it can like really start to make an impact in these massive areas in life, and then not only that, like you can think of, for example, we implemented a security system to because the computer there's a field of AI called computer vision, and that field can help the computer see just like humans can see and make sense of the objects around us. And so we implemented a system for security to monitor a manufacturing unit, and then similar system to monitor the quality of the widgets that were being assembled on the assembly line. So now you can like there's so many implications, so many applications of AI. So wherever you see a repeated pattern, or some decision being made, AI can help there.
Okay. All right. That's
Yeah,
neat. Thanks for
yeah,
breaking it down for us. Those are great
yeah,
examples because I'm visualizing those things as you're saying it. So it was very helpful.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so do you like so do you have like do you just consult? Does your company just do consulting? And if so, how can people reach you?
Yeah. So yeah, we provide consult. We have some products as well that we built on top of AI, and we generally work with innovators and companies who want to incorporate technology or build something. Let's say they have some idea they want to bring to life. So we work with them. We do all the research. We even hire the right people if they want to build a company. So in many cases, we actually help them build the entire startup from the ground up, and then bring the product to market. Or in some cases they may have some technology which is outdated and they want to modernize it, so we work with them to figure out all the steps required to get them to wherever they want to go. If people want to talk to us, you can go to my website manujagarwal.com, or my company website tetranoodle.com. If they want to connect with me personally, they can go to manuj.ca, or they can just find me on LinkedIn and tell me that they heard me on this podcast, and I'll be happy to help them.
And I'm just gonna spell it because when you say it, I mean everybody may not necessarily have the correct letters. So it's Manujaggarwal. All right, cool. I just didn't want anybody who was like just listening and they're like, oh, I'm gonna write down later, and then they couldn't find it. So now at least we know that they'll be able to find you.
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
That is
Go.
awesome. And so now, we're at that point in the show where we have a tradition. Are you ready? Are you ready,
Yeah,
Manoj?
yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right. So I'm gonna give you 3 fill in the blanks and you tell me what your responses are. Okay. So the first
Okay.
one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
Ability to do whatever you want with whoever you want at any time whatever time you want.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mm.
The next one is, if I am fearless, I will.
Reach my full potential and multiply it again.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
And then the last one is, my battle cry is.
Um, my battle cry is challenging myself to do even better tomorrow.
Love it. Love it.
Mm.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us and educating us about AI. I think that's so important. And something that we don't always think about. I mean, you see like, these things going around on the internet right now where you can like go and put your visage and then they give you like different versions of yourself. And
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
I think most people think of AI as that, which
Yeah.
obviously it's way more than that, as you've illustrated in our conversation. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that with us. And also I appreciate you sharing about your experiences in India and how, how sometimes social things can affect how your life progresses. And so, yeah, we appreciate that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.